Thank you very much to all the previous speakers. My presentation is not going to be on the international and those kind of spectrums, but I'm just trying to propose a way forward for transition from what we have learned through years of work in coal-bearing areas. So the mega pick or the mega picture, I think we have to stem this rot. We are all engaged at some levels on this. Today we are talking about political economy. Both are in doldrums. You can see farmers, in Delhi, and you can also see what CMI says about our economic situation now. So we need to stem this rot. And where is this rot coming from? It's not coming from the climate negotiations. It's not coming from several other things. It's not also coming from air pollution of PM1, 2, or it is coming from the Prime Minister's office. The Prime Minister's office has a project management group which in the name of doing ease of business and the development of the kind that the previous speaker mentioned will take us to economic betterment. These are the kind of projects that the Prime Minister's office is pushing. If you see this, there are 1,090 projects today, and 1,090 projects, all the projects which are going to take away people's land, it's all the development of the kind that we have had in the last 20 to 30 years. If we look at just the coal related projects, there are 342 of them. And if you see all the power projects, another list, which is 390 projects. Totally this e-Suvidha that is being given to large corporates and this kind of a political economy that we are running is of the order of 2,63,000 crores or something like that. So this is what is causing all the kind of problems that we have, because what this is doing is it is pushing people to give eco-sensitive zone clearance to various other kind of things, including saying that we'll take care of law and order issues, and even as illegal as saying that it will get you a certificate under the Forest Rights Act. So if the PMO is doing the job of the DFO, then you can understand what political economy we are talking about and what energy transition, just transition we are talking about. So the government's own ambitious scenario and the plans are whatever the government's own plan says. I think two major things which I have shown in red are absolute no, right? Rest, in any case, we have to get rid of them. So that I have marked them in red. This carbon capture and storage, this kind of a false solution, and nuclear power, which is slipped in as another kind of a clean energy. So apart from that, these are the kind of business as usual scenario and ambitious scenario that the National Energy Plan is talking about. But what I am interested in is let all of them collapse. Let all of them collapse, because I sometimes feel that probably this year me and my team have gone through very, very serious kind of situations to work with, context to work with, and what we have realized is this entire kind of an economy cannot last 2 quarters for a collapse like the current pandemic. So we just have to kind of get rid of this. We'll have a lot of stranded assets, but I think we need to deal with them. Coal is definitely a sunset industry, no matter what kind of 300 projects the Prime Minister would want to push. There are climate and environmental issues, there are water source issues, there are human rights issues, there are occupational hazards, impacts of women. There are several things that all of us know. I am not going to labor on them. And we also know that Coal India's own, coal vision doubts the future of coal. So I don't think anyone else needs to, talk more about their own, kind of uncertainty about the reality, unfortunately, is in the current economy, the beneficiaries are the investors and the investment bankers. There are the owners and managers who are making money. There are politicians and contractors who are making money. There are researchers, consultants, even CSOs making money, government officials, departments, and even in the context of coal and mining, reclaimers are making money. Who is paying the cost? It's the local communities who are paying the cost. It's the workers who are paying the cost. It's the local environment which is being, destroyed. The ecosystems are being disturbed. Small investors, they are paying the cost for it. All these chit funds to everyone is paying cost for it. So we also know what is the larger coal and thermal power situation in India, where it is happening, and I don't think I am even competent enough to talk with a lot of finance people around about the kind of stranded assets we have and the lenders and how they have put our banks into the brink. So what I feel is uh, all this the key objectives that our own government policy statement says is not going to be kind of met by all these kind of activities that are going on at the stage. So we need to find solutions, and this time, like it was with migrant workers, it was with several other situations. It was not the government, it was not anybody, any policy or anything. No policy is these days made by an SDM. So there is no sanctity of any of these things. But what we are saying, what are the key objectives of India's energy policy? It is we need access at affordable prices. We need improved security and independence. We need greater sustainability, and we need economic growth. What is the kind of meso picture, or now that states and others seem to have different meanings, the government can form, break. So I think here we need to set right by creating new livelihoods and also creating diseconomies of scale. When I said, many of these will get stranded, I'm sure that, we can create ways by which uh, these will eventually be stranded because they cannot pay the cost for it. And I'm just going to talk about one, process that is going on, which is a kind of a live example from a land that was to be mined for coal, right? So I call this as, we need to resist this kind of economy or political economy, and we have to reflect and also recreate, what kind of things that can be done. There is no time now to, debate or discuss whether, common but differentiated responsibilities actually exist, whether they can be ensured, because they are only theoretical. Here is a place where Gare 4 by 6, the villagers of Gare in a coal belt decided that they won't want coal mining in that area. The brief history is in 2008, there was a public hearing for coal mine to feed the Jindal Thermal Pithead Power Plant, which today's presentation says is one of the cheapest and best for coal. But no, they had lathi charge in the public hearing. I'm not playing that lathi charge here, but whenever we share this, you could also see what happened at that time. Then halfway through the public hearing, the general people bed them up. People then went to the appellate authority, and then subsequently the whole block was stopped from being mined. Now, this is a lush green village in the midst of the Skoal Belt area. And the Jindal's response to people refusing this was they arrested, got the arrest of Ramesh Agarwal, one of the activists. Then there was people were filed cases against people. Ramesh Agarwal was also shot. Many of you know, and but the government persisted. The government started further trying to conduct another public hearing, then also fix it up with another coal washery and other related kind of thing, and held a public hearing which was like a caged public hearing. You will come into the cage and say what is your objection to the plant. So this is how they tried to stage manage the public hearing. But women in that area did persisted. They Then they said, yes, we will form our own producer company. The Gare Tap Upkarm Producer Company Limited was formed. And they said that the government cannot forcibly acquire land. And following the coal satyagraha, they symbolically, all the lands then was bequeathed to the company as and when if it will go for mining. The basic purpose of the company was to demonstrate the potential of community owned enterprises and also to save the earth from mindless exploitation of nature and natural wealth for the few. Then we decided to ring fence the area. We said we'll start with other kind of renewables and other activities. There are what kind of activities can be done, how to use local government resources to conduct cooperative farming with solar this thing. What we are today faced, I'm just sharing this because what we have today faced is four kind of intertwined challenges. One is runaway climate change. We cannot for even argument's sake forget it. Then because there are erratic and extreme events, and that's creating a lot of uncertainty to the poor. Second, the economy is hugely debt burden. The debt burden is, and the meltdown has already taken place. Work is changing very dramatically. There is huge job losses, and we cannot forget that the capital and wealth. There is unequal ownership and access. Very large transfers of public to private wealth, and extremely skewed worker to owner incomes persist. So, unless, like to summarize, I would say, climate justice, if we say, we have to secure for reparations of the past. So, if it means, those who are fighting at international level to secure reparations from the developed countries for all we should try and do the current ecological and environmental damage. All this 1090 projects of the Prime Minister's office, how do you secure ecological and environmental damage? By giving more money to Campa? How will you do this? Then to ensure access to information, participation, and justice in environmental decision making, rightfully claim the remaining carbon budget, develop a resilient communities. Then we need to have economic justice. We cannot talk climate and energy unless we are talking about economic justice. We have to confront the political and corporate collusion, the huge oligopolies that are set up. Today, the Competition Commission of India had to raid the Swiss-owned Ambuja ACC and Birla-owned Ultratech. That there was cartelization in cement pricing. So you create overcapacity, and then you create cartels for kind of price manipulation. So these oligopolies and tax havens which are raising inequalities, we have to confront them. We have to enable access to physical and financial resources to the poor by design. Like I talk to lead bank officers in districts where they are saying that there are not enough money. You can go and take a loan for a JCB to dig the sand, but there is no money for setting up a sanitary napkin unit. So we have to design access to physical and financial resources to the poor by design. Then energy also got to be, it has to be, there has to be an energy justice. And we have to also address this kind of informalization, union busting, unequal bargaining power. Do all the coal power plants, if Girish is suggesting, 100 gigawatts to be retired, like in Tamil, they say, all the unions of the coal plants are not going and plucking some, tamarind, puliya parika pola avanga. So the unions are being busted. They are not having bargaining power. How to transit out of these economies? So these are kind of issues which are larger. So in summary, I would say that we need to set systems that are economically efficient, equitable, self-reliant, and societies should identify. And no, that is where we think that it's technology, financial services, very vibrant communications, and a completely different candidate technologies and products that we should be promoting, so as to ensure that this just transition in an unequal world brings about the kind of system change that many of us aspire, rather than tweaking from one energy source to the other. Thank you very much.